Hey, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, call the Lord Yahweh, Hashem Yahushua, Hashem Gosh. And of course, double honors go out to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. This is now my DC camp. Uh, this is going to be a follow up to a video I did last week about uh, a. Man, this is crazy. It goes to show you the hatred these devils have for us. But there was on Memorial Day, they had a commemoration, and this lieutenant colonel, uh, in his speech, was giving uh, credit due where credit was due, and he mentioned how the first Memorial Day was attributed to after the Civil War, uh, former slaves. Well, someone didn't like that, and his mic was cut. All right, but just to show you and give you a different perspective, well, we'll let someone behind enemy lines. All right, I'm going to combine two videos into one here because, again, these people go out of their way. And here we are, a people that were and still are under subjection to them, and they're jealous. Which goes to show you something I'll get into a little later, but I'm going to go ahead and play this video. I didn't want to take too much time on this, but let's hear it from, hey.
Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So today, we're going to talk about a history lesson. Talk a little bit about Memorial Day and a lieutenant colonel getting his mic shut off in the middle of a speech because he was going to provide a history lesson about what is widely believed to be the first observance of Memorial Day. But it's a story that, well, I guess there's some people who don't really want it told, so we're going to make sure we tell it today. Okay, so the first official national observance of Memorial Day took place in Arlington on May 30th, 1868. Prior to this point, there was Decoration Day, is what it was called. A whole bunch of different towns had these days where they would go out and decorate the burial sites of fallen troops. Then in the late 90s, maybe early 90s, a professor from Yale, Blight, I think, he was researching a book on the Civil War, and he found this box, and it said First Decoration Day. Like, okay, and he starts looking through it. The thing is, it was from 1865, and that's a year before any of the other ones. It was in Charleston, a place that didn't claim to have the first one, which was odd. So this is what happened. There was a racetrack in Charleston during the war. It was turned into a prisoner of war camp. A whole bunch of Union troops were lost there, 260 of them, and they were all buried together. Like right after the war ended, a bunch of newly freed slaves decided to give them a proper send-off. They dug them up and buried them separately, properly. Put flowers on their graves. And then on May 1st, well, they had a parade. And they sang John Brown's Body. It's kind of fitting to think that Memorial Day began where the war began, in Charleston. And the first people to observe it.
Oh, just for a second, just as a side note, that John Brown's Body, you probably don't recognize that song with that title, but this is like one of these little, how do I put this? Like war within a war, people, knowing who John Brown was, well, they didn't like that in the South, so eventually they rewrote it, and you know it as the Battlefield on the Republic.
Were newly freed slaves. But this isn't a story that a lot of people want told, because we do like to keep our history a certain tone, I guess.
Yep.
Interestingly enough, this lieutenant colonel who decides to say this, he decides to basically provide this little lesson during a Memorial Day observance in Hudson, Ohio. They said they cut his mic because it didn't have anything to do with Hudson. That's not true. John Brown, the song John Brown's Body, he was born in Hudson. It completely connects. That's just an excuse. That doesn't even make sense. It's just that in the United States, we like to cut the mic on stories we don't like. And there's an interesting footnote to this. In 1916, a Civil War Historical Society out of New Orleans, they heard about this parade, they heard about this thing, and they sent a letter to Charleston asking about it, to the Charleston Historical Society. And like, oh no dear, we don't know what you're talking about. We never heard of such a thing. You know, that good Charleston accent. The mic got cut on this story right from the beginning. It wasn't in the interest of the people in Charleston to have a story that showed exactly how happy the newly freed slaves were. And so it disappeared. Now, there are people who argue this. You know, the official birthplace is in this location. Yeah, that designation was made in 1966 by Nixon. It was a completely political thing. Had nothing to do with like a whole lot of real scholarship. Can we say definitively that this event in Charleston led directly to the Memorial Day observances that we have now? No. I mean, not really. We don't know that for certain. But it's incredibly hard not to draw that line, because it's the parade, decorating the sites. It is the origin of Memorial Day, whether you want to admit it or not. A lot of national days, holidays, they have origins that people don't want to admit. I'm certain that there's a whole lot of people that don't want to look into why Easter is celebrated with an egg and a rabbit. It may not fit your image of what Memorial Day was, but I find it very hard to believe that this event in Charleston did not, at the very least, inspire the events that then became the basis for Memorial Day. If you're talking about the origin, yeah, this is it. If you're talking about the inspiration, the beginning of it, where it started, yeah. You may not be able to draw that direct line via historical standards of having correspondence between people who were at one event and then started the other or anything like that. But the spirit was there. And I challenge anybody to find an event that is similar in nature prior to the one in Charleston. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.
And I was aware of this particular guy's site, several years. It's a whole of the fifth column, but right here is the original. This is not the one that I used, but this is the Young Turks. But this is the one they're talking about: veteran silence while memorializing Black history. But I got it from the Roland Martin site. But yeah, right there, that's the Lieutenant Colonel retired. But this is the thing, and let's get another one and combine these two. Now here, from the Roland Martin, it says a crazy-ass spray paint carrying defaces monument to only Black member of the Lewis and Clark expedition. So let's go to that.
You're allowed. I'm white. I got you, bro.
Illegally selling water without a permit
On my property.
Whoa! Hey!
See, you're wondering why all this is happening now, and these people can sense that their kingdom, their rulership is coming to an end. It's just that simple. All right? And they know that eventually they're going to have to answer for all the shit that they've done. They don't want to do that. So, of course, there's going to be resistance. All right? So now you're seeing things speeding up here with this jab. Now they're having to explain. It just came over the group chat. The CDC now is investigating incidents of people having inflammations of the heart, I believe it was. So, you idiots, if you get this shot, I don't care what your reasoning is, especially if you know what's going on, especially if you know the truth. All right? Now, you can make all kind of excuses. Let's get my job, get another job. It comes down to faith, people. But back to this, I don't want to get off track. But this whole thing here you are, you've got a people that have, as I stated earlier, have been, still are in captivity under you, under subjection to you. And the fear is that, I remember hearing Dick Gregory, the late Dick Gregory, he was at Reverend Fontroy's church here in D.C., right down here on, I think it's M Street, the Shaw neighborhood down here. And he was talking to him, he was like, asking Dr. Fontroy, he said, you were the first one to go to college and get a degree and all this. You know, I think Reverend Fontroy went to Yale Divinity School, something like that. You know, it's not important, but the thing is, the answer to that, he said, in most cases, it took just one generation. Now, here are people that you've done all kinds of ungodly things to. All right? Yet, when you search the history, they just let our people fend for themselves, let them go. And we were subject to all kinds of abuse and tyranny, terrorism. Let's just throw that there, the appropriate name for it. All right? Because they could not stand like ancient Pharaoh did in ancient Egypt. So what did the new one? Couldn't stand to let us go. A lot of our people to this day are under the impression that we are free. Damn shame. But that's the thing, we're still a threat because here it is, these people established townships where they began to prosper, and what happened? Terrorism. Plain and simple. Terrorism. Couldn't stand it. Jealousy and envy. Let's go on.
I'm uncomfortable.
Well, y'all, my goodness. At Mount Tabor in southeast Portland, a white woman thought it was a great idea to deface the statue commemorating Youre, an enslaved black member of the 1804 Lewis and Clark expedition. For the second time in 3 months, the monument was vandalized. This time, it was caught on video. Here is today's crazy-ass white woman.
Do you want to give us your name on the?
Yeah, my name is Jeanette K. Grody. My date of birth is 9/13/78.
Hey, way to be part of the solution. Good job.
Come fucking arrest me.
Good job.
I'm first, not color, race, or sex.
What's your name?
This is not even fucking 70. My name is Jeanette Grody. Reporting to the police. I will pay for damages if you want me to. Fuck all of you. I've been prejudiced against black people and Hispanic people. And everybody has, I'm sure you've been prejudiced against people as well. I don't give a fuck. Do whatever the fuck you want.
All right.
It's love and unity, not to replace a white man with a fucking black man. That is not fucking unity. Yeah, you can go ahead, shake your head. I've read the White President's book or whatever the fuck else you want for Unity Spiritual Center. I don't give a fuck.
Mm. Mm.
Let me do this before they go in on this stupid bitch here. This is why we bring out scriptures like this. What happened is they tore down the statue of, I forget who it was. It might have been either Lewis or Clark. And they put up York, the slave. All right? You can't have that. Why? Because the narrative we've been giving you, all right, that we're superior and all this, well, that's not the case. Here it is in your kingdom where you've had the upper hand, all right, you've been in the power seat, and still you're struggling. That's an embarrassment. Your own system, your own kingdom. That's why I said earlier about in most cases, all it took our people was one generation. One generation. That's got to be scary to someone that's always got your foot on somebody else's neck. And like that buoy, they keep popping it back up. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness, as we're doing today on the highways and byways, on the corners, before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. Here you had to steal ideas from slaves, in most cases, and run to the patent office, through all your trickery, whatever, your so-called illegal avenues. And you pat yourself on the back. You're actually proud of that. That's a fucking lowlife. That's a piece of shit. But now, let's get this real quick. You're being exposed. You are being exposed more every day. Alright? As to the piece of shit that you really are. This is Habakkuk. It says, Most High answers the prophets. Verse 4 says, Behold, his soul which is lifted up. This is you so-called white people. The soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. That's what I said earlier. This is about faith. They're trying to get you to alter you in some way. You have to consider this jab. You have to consider the prospect of them doing to you what they've done. Think of the cases where Monsanto has used the law to claim what is not theirs. My point is, if you ever heard of the incidents in India where you had farmers committing suicide because of the tactics that Monsanto used, and ended up claiming their farms because they would let certain, I'm going to put this, in mysterious ways, these farmers would have property belonging to, say, property, you're talking wheat or whatever have you, that mysteriously was mingled in amongst these farmers' crops. And Monsanto comes in, oh, this is ours. By law, this is ours. So they would, and these people will up and commit suicide. So how much more this jab, I'll call it that, is altering your DNA. This is property. Therefore, you are property of the government. You are no longer you. So you're marked in that way. Think about that. But no, you want to do it because you're inconvenienced. All right? That shows a lack of faith. And that's how they're getting a lot of people. There's a nurse strike. Where is it? Is it in Houston, Texas? They're like, well, I call it a strike. They're like, the hospital is trying to get them to say, no jab, no job. All right, see, things are picking up here. You're going to have to make a choice. Verse 5, he also, because he transgresses by wine his philosophy and doctrine, he is a proud man. We know there's no prouder person on this earth than the so-called white man, the nation of Edom. Neither keepeth at home, he's everywhere. In everybody's business, telling them how they should live. Follow our democracy. Again, that wine, his philosophy, his doctrine. Who enlargeth his desire is hell and is as death, can never be satisfied. But gathereth unto him all nations to exploit them, and heapeth unto him all people. This is a common trait, a modus operandi of the nation of Edom, as the Greeks, as the Romans, and now we're in the revived Roman Empire. This is just an extension of ancient Rome. All right? Shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him? All right, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. That's what we're talking about. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with that clay, that debt, all right, that burden of debt. That's what is keeping people in bondage to this devil, all right? That thick clay, this is a debt-based society, all right? Shall they not rise up suddenly, that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them? Think of James 5th chapter, all right? Let's go down here to 16. It says, thou art filled with shame for glory. And they are. They've gone all throughout the world. Everybody used to praise the so-called white man. And what they call us, you're lazy. That's why you in the predicament that you're in. No, this is, but fuck them. They're finding out. We tried to tell them, and our wife should have been an example, but no. They look down their nose at us. So fuck all these other men. Thou art filled with shame for glory, drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Most High Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee. Lamentations 4:20-21. And shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. That's why it says in Revelation 18, give him double. All right. So let's have them go in on this piece of shit now.
Go ahead. Which one of y'all want to go ahead and comment?
Go ahead. Hey, I'm just glad York getting some shine. The only time I've been to Portland, I asked them, take me to the campus of Lewis and Clark College so I can see the statue of York. There's a statue in Louisville. There's one in St. Louis. There's a couple on the campus of the University of Portland. York didn't just accompany William Clark and Rogers Lewis. He was enslaved by William Clark. And as my man Frank X. Walker, who's at the University of Kentucky, has wrote a whole epic poem about him. And there's only a couple of books about him. One's called In Search of York. York was the cat they were sending out in front of them. The Native Americans called him the Big Medicine. They said, we ain't never seen a human being like this. York, he got back to St. Louis and Clark wouldn't let him go. He had a wife in Louisville who they sold to Louisiana. And then eventually they say that he finally got out of enslavement and went back to Native America, where he was living out there near where you are, Georgia, apparently as an older man. That's part of the legend. So what this white girl did, who's only speaking English because the settlers came across the damn land and York was with them, and now you speaking English in the great upper Pacific Northwest. The beautiful thing about it is what this woman inadvertently did might interject York into the imagination of some people to go back and see, well, why the hell is she so mad at that statue? Go read up on York. He's a fascinating brother, the Big Medicine. And you can't do nothing with him with a spray can either.
They put the statue up, Georgia, in February after protesters toppled one of a white man. And clearly, Spray Paint Karen is just not too happy at all that the statue of the brother is up.
Yeah, let me just say, I have never been so ashamed to be half white. Karenism is a pandemic in and of itself, and violence by white women is real. I mean, we have often painted white men out to be the ones that are perpetuating harm in the Black community, but white women are just as guilty. And, it's just... for people to try and present themselves to be so educated and so correct and that they should be model citizens, it has been a relief, actually, in some ways, to see their true colors captured on camera. And it's absolutely hilarious. But on the other hand, it's absolutely terrifying to know that we can be out in community and be approached by women who have this much anger. And we have seen that same character. We saw that character accuse a young black man of stealing her cell phone. We've seen that same Karen call the cops on a black bird watcher, and so it's like we continuously see this character reveal itself in every city, in every state. There is a Karen, and I'll just say frankly though, I do feel bad for the Karens out there who are good women, because that lady right there, she's giving Karens a bad rep.
Reese, I'm surprised we have not gotten her name, but I can't wait till her ass get fired.
Well, she said, "I dare you to arrest me, bitches. I am white. I am upset. I'm going to deface this property. It is my right as a white woman who's upset." What were them symbols about, though? Why is she? What's the gender symbols got to do with anything? Go ahead and put the Nazi sign on that, girl. Just lean into it. That's what you are. You are white supremacists. Go ahead and own it, girl. What you drawing purple symbols for? What's that supposed to mean?
Yeah, I thought initially I thought she was celebrating Prince. I didn't know what the hell the purple was about. That was just
you don't know what the hell she was doing. But the reason why it's funny to me is because they're so triggered. They're so triggered by what? By a statue of a black man? Oh, they put a statue of a black man, God rest his soul, who is a slave. That's what we get.
Right.
We get slave statues. We get slave movies. And like they put, somebody up there who's doing something that's a threat to white people. What is she that mad about? But
I'm gonna leave it right there because she got a point. They're triggered by what? This is how much they hate you. This is trivial shit. All right. All the more reason we gotta get the fuck up out of here. This is wow. Oh boy. This is 2 Thessalonians 1:6. It says, "Seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you." All right. It says, "Unto you who are troubled, rest with us, when the Lord Yahweh shall be revealed from heaven with his mighty angels, in flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, and that obey not the gospel of our Lord Yahweh Shah HaMashiach." And that's what we're really trying to get our people to realize. All right. You're not going to be able to go mano a mano, heads up with this devil, because of his blessing, which is the soul. We need deliverance. All right. We need Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. Sacrifice. Here, this is a commandment, Zephaniah 3. It says, "Woe to Jerusalem and the nations," Zephaniah 3:8. "Therefore," listen to this, "therefore, wait ye upon me, saith the Most High Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms," Joel 3rd chapter, "to pour upon mine indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy." All right. So with that, hey, once again, this has been, hey, just how much these devils hate us. All right? It's constant reminders. And yet you have our people caught up in their job, their house, these material things that your oppressor, your enemy controls. All right? That's why we're working to store these things. All right? What should be, those things that really mean anything, these things that are stored in heaven, where this devil can't reach, can't control. So with that, hey, shalom, shalom, shalom.